Flyover State of Film was shot in front of a live studio audience.
First episode of Obi-Wan, it sucks.
Yeah, every single fucking Star Wars and Marvel shit has just pure garbage.
No, there's been a couple of them I liked.
Oh yeah, you've watched every Disney Plus.
I've watched.
TJ, pop open your collar, man. You're the only one with not showing skin.
Yeah, show us
the color. Give it a
show us those ginger pubes.
Give it a skin, baby.
Yeah. Welcome back, guys, to another episode, the 100th episode. What the fuck are we doing with our lives that we have recorded 100 episodes of this bullshit?
100 episodes and have not gotten better at intros at all.
There was a stretch where we got pretty good, and then we regressed.
I don't think we've ever gotten good, but we're here. We love each other. Happy 100, guys! With the
happy 100.
Brian.
Taking it back, I got a beer this time.
I was gonna say, taking it back. What are you guys drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking Kentucky Cold Snack. Oh, it's also Pride Month. They're donating, 10% of their proceeds.
It's Pride Month, so I'm drinking the Simply Spiked lemonades.
I like that it's blurred.
No sponsors, no free sponsors.
As usual, classics. I'm double fisting some rosé, some Miller Lite, and TJ throughout the episode.
The classic TJ.
All right. We saw also follow us. The thingamajig is here, and the thingamajig is in the download. All right. So a fair warning to anybody that so happens to want to hear about To Wong Foo, and you should want to listen about it. It's a fun movie. The timestamps are down below because we're gonna talk about each other.
Yeah, last two questions are
first, guys.
To Wong Foo and favorite queer film will be at the end of the episode of more normal, not so self-indulging.
Yeah. This episode is for our biggest fans, and our biggest fans are right now recording. So this first part is for us. So let's start off.
I'm wearing the shirt from the intro and I acted like someone would even notice. The only person who noticed was when I came down the stairs and my wife visually registered disgust when she saw it.
All right, so there is no secret that even though this podcast never took off like we knew it wouldn't, there's no secret that we have by far the best thumbnail artist in the game, which is Chindango over there. If you need thumbnails, it's 150 a pop.
Yeah, that's fine. 150 a pop. I got you. 75 if you're nice.
Also,
10% goes to the whole podcast.
If you enjoy pieces of art, like say my Twitter avatar with the Dr. Zebi as Dr. Zayas, also Joe's beautiful art.
And to commemorate the 100th thumbnail, I don't know what the thumbnail is going to be. It's in his head, but we're going to mention our favorite thumbnails, and I'm gonna be first with saying the Muppets. The Muppets episode is by far one of my favorite fucking.
Yeah. That was actually my avatar at Christmas time. Me as the Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
That is a piece of art. The way that all of us are in the Muppet world.
I remember doing that. That thumbnail and showing because Brian, it really works because Brian is Miss Piggy, and I think it was Laura going yeah, it's kind of offensive because you're and I'm he doesn't care.
I was like, that was the first time I'd ever heard I was fat. Did you know that? I never knew that.
And you know what? I don't even think it was that. It was like, this just fits well. Like it's
It's
not
your skin tone. It was
it's
your
not a
skin
fat
tone
joke
just
in it.
blending into the Miss Piggy.
Well, those the
pale.
little
I'm
insight,
brown.
in the good point, Brian.
Good point, Brian. You gotta get one in.
The little insight in the thumbnails. Those are the funnest to do. The most fun, like where we got to Photoshop our face onto something and then like it works, and then you could like play with a font and stuff. Yeah. That's like the fun to do. Like inside point. You know how you can tell if we're lazy when it's the ones I've been doing where I put like the poster to the right or left, and then I put the name and it's minimally done and it looks nice, but it's the bare minimum. That's
that's even 100% more efficient or more professional, I should say, than most of the fucking YouTube thumbnails that you see around.
Well, I think our early thumbnails are rough. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
They're like
they're collages.
We're trying to mimic like other places with collages of things we're talking about, where it's like the Joker and then Kurt Russell for some reason hanging out, you know, and it's
What about you, Brian? What's one of your favorites?
Oh, you brought up a recent one that we did actually mimic a trend in YouTube. Our slapstick men reacting.
Yes.
Yeah,
slap episode. That's a recent one that I think was really funny and good. And then farther back, if you go back to find the Lord of the Rings episode, Joe with his hat raising his hand.
That's my personal favorite. I think that was the first time really incorporated one of us on an episode.
Yeah.
And it was clean and like the pictures are good. I'm a fan of that one. Not just because I'm in love with myself.
All my favorite ones were Joe centric anyway. I was also gonna say where he was Drew Barrymore. That's a good one too.
I got that one in my list, yes. Never Been Kissed. Where he's like this and the hair is so fucking off-putting. It's so well done too.
The amount of times I've for like those I go like I'm sure you guys have done to your like wives or girlfriends and been like, I need you to take a photo of me in this position. I'm like, huh? And you're like, yes.
How about you, TJ?
Yeah, TJ.
Sorry,
no, I could talk about it all day.
Well, I was gonna say is just as Joe said, as much as he loves himself. I mean, it's the ones that kind of are centric, you know, around me, all me. The pest one's probably just my favorite.
That's the most iconic one. That's my favorite thumbnail of anyone we've done because it looks like you're in the shot.
Yeah. And
also with TJ's shirt, the Monster Squad one.
Yes.
You're front and center on that one too. We're all in it, but you've got the featured spot.
And just like all those, because you would get a message from Joe, and he'd be like, "Just send me a bunch of angles of your face."
Yeah.
You guys are always great at it, and I'd just be like, "I got the two," and then Joe would just kind of make do with.
Yeah, when I was in the apartment, there was a day that I was just drunk, and he had 2 days ago we had recorded, and he said like, "Send me a couple," and I sent like fucking 20 fucking pictures of myself, and I ended up being in like 10 fucking thumbnails in a row.
That's where one of my favorite comes in of the Sixth Sense one where it's just two figures of you.
Yes.
I also the Total Recall one is a very good Jusef focused one as well.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun to do. Thanks for always the call out of the thumbnails. Yeah, Jusef made all those faces, and that's why and some of them were so silly. Even that I'm looking through at them now to refresh. Like the heavyweights one is just Jusef.
Yeah. Are the guys in the background, or am I misremembering that?
We're all the guys carrying Lars.
We're holding the sandwich. Yeah.
I think we're carrying TJ. I'm sorry. It's like me and you, and then I think I left two of the cast members, and then TJ.
Now I don't know if I'm wrong or right. We lost an episode, right? Did we lose an episode, the City Slickers one, or did we?
But we did have a good thumbnail.
Do we have a good thumbnail? You do pop that up.
Let me see if I could find it.
Yeah.
We do have a good thumbnail for City Slickers.
I just remember.
And we lost City Slickers, which in theory it should have been.
Yeah, last week.
Last week should have been the 100th episode, right?
Yeah.
Or no, we kept counting. We kept counting either way.
Yeah.
Good memory.
We didn't roll back.
We kept up with the count.
Yeah. But the one that we truly missed in terms of thumbnails is the one of Brian. This is just Brian like this.
Yeah, my face is just on there. We don't have a picture for it.
Which
Because
one?
the video
Other
went
than-
up. The video went up without a thumbnail.
Oh, I never even
We've done
realized
that a
that.
couple times.
I'm
And the very
I was laughing as I was going through looking at the gorgeous thumbnails. I was laughing at our inscrutable titles. Like, no wonder the show never took off. You'd never know what the fucking show
Yeah.
is ever about.
You
Like,
could
there's no way you could ever tell from the title of the show what it's about.
no,
I thank God for the thumbnails because I was like, what the hell movie is this even?
Yes.
that
because
we're doing?
Yeah.
it also could we
And that
also present
It's
ourselves
my
as
contribution.
Yeah.
we could also
Ryan
present
is the fun
ourselves
guy.
as a bad like sketches of these movies too with these thumbnails, like with the
Yeah.
pun and the thumbnails. I just sent you guys for reference to yourself. I'll send you back later the shitty slickers so you can see. For the record, I didn't add that Mets logo. That's the fucking that's on the poster.
Ooh,
You
look
guys
at my
see
face.
that sexy picture of Billy Crystal? He was like all ripped. He had like abs and shit. It was awesome. It was
Yeah,
really
I saw
upsetting.
that. It's like he's
I
all
was like,
fucked
this
up.
is-
When he was with
This
Mac
shit
Ryan,
throws me.
yeah, he was getting.
Very
he was
first
getting
thumbnail before I don't know why I didn't ask you Joe to make one.
I
Or,
think it would just like
I did the very first episode
I
thumbnail.
think Shitty has 2 T's in it though.
yeah, it's never aired.
yeah. There's no proof.
That happens. Also, a little
Tweet
peel
us
back.
later.
I'll send a thumbnail in our chat. Be like, here, look at this. Then immediately go, oh, don't use that one, and then notice an error. No, it's weird. First kind of like early. It's really fun to go to the YouTube page and look. Like, there's a pattern we were going with, and then like we broke, and then we were like, it's more fun, and then more like either a mashup of the poster that we're trying to mimic with like the font. That's always fun. Or like minimalist with just like a big component to it, which is good too. Like I'm looking at like the League of Their Own we did, and I'm like, why the hell did I? It's a good thumbnail without the crowded, photoshopped people on below.
Blade 2.
Blade 2, yeah.
All right, stop mentioning because I'm not gonna put everybody in there. All right,
No,
next
no.
topic.
It's like Jusef just edited it.
You know what's a good one though? The American Pie one includes all of us.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then
That's one. Yeah, there no more.
no. Hold on. And then
from American Pie on, I'm not gonna.
all right, I was just gonna
put
say,
them-
and our flybys
Quick
are
cut.
pretty. The flyby ones are pretty good too.
The flybys are amazing. Those are the best ones.
The Planet of the Apes one, the flyby one is so good.
Well, because I just take that ones are easy because they just
I'm not
find
adding.
good
American Pie was
posters
the last one.
and fade them together.
Fuck you. All right, next up, topic.
Topic.
Oh shit! Whose topic is it?
What is the topic? 'Cause there was also another thing you were going to talk about.
Favorite. Well, this should be the topic. TJ, the what we talk about most. The viewers probably hate us.
Oh, like the thing that we bring up or that we talk.
Oh,
Again, what has kept us from breaking through and becoming the best podcast of all time?
because we just get locked in on shit. Obviously, there's ones off the top of my head that you know, but I'm sure other than the 3 people that listen to this, other than ourselves, people definitely get sick of hearing us talk about. So if you guys off the top of your heads, what is the one, like the movies or topics or characters or actors, just anything what we talk about? What's the thing you think we talk about the most?
Fucking Child's Play.
Child's Play and Prometheus.
Shut the fuck up about Child's Play already.
It's
No, never.
I like it. I like Child's Play. I'm
Never.
starting to hate it. Shut the fuck up about it.
No.
well, guess what, buddy? It's only going to get brought up more later in this podcast.
If Chucky season 2 comes out, I'm gonna start a show on this channel where I go through I'm gonna recap every episode.
Woo.
Actually,
Your thumbnail.
Brian, great idea. That could be a
What are we
flyover
gonna call
fear
it though?
percent.
It gotta be a flyover
That could be
adjacent.
So it could be a fear adjacent.
We're like this the Secrets of Dumbledore. We're stuck with that naming convention. We're stuck.
Yeah, now we're stuck with it. We got to figure it out.
I don't know.
I mean, I think that's just one of those things. Like any podcast, the hosts have their favorites. They have the things they're going to bring up at certain times. I don't think that's that big of a deal. What probably turns off the most people is anytime we have to tackle any kind of social topic because we're 4 cis, middle-aged, mostly white males. Like, it's just we're not in the group to like have a on most of the social stuff. Like we're gonna talk queer movies later, and not that we're not allowed to like queer movies or anything, but also like nobody wants to hear white dudes talk about. Shut up. Who movies you like? You know, Colin.
Ooh, Brian's internet is wild.
Brian, your
today.
internet's back to.
I feel like we're in the first episodes again, man. Are we circling back to the beginning? Is this what is happening?
So what Brian, just to sum up, if anyone's listening, you didn't understand. What Brian's trying to say is no one wants to hear what straight white men have to say, and that was all his recap is what he just put it there. No, I don't know. I think we just bring up things, and I'm sure it gets exhausting when some of us probably have like the same answer from every time. Like I know I'll throw it and be like, yeah, let me like bring up fucking Zodiac again. It's an underrated gem, and it's not. But you know,
hey, you know, you're allowed to like movies.
Yeah, that's like constantly. It's just or not constantly. Just I don't know because we've ran into the problem or just the lack thereof of topics sometimes. And we will regurgitate some things and just kind of reword it. But then our answers kind of fall in that sometimes too. But also, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, who cares?
We're also just four idiots. But we talk like the negativeness of me and the Snyder stuff, man. Like it's
that might have gone.
It's fun for a while, but like.
I think we really lean into Snyder and the Joker for a while. It was it was a good teeth of content for maybe 5 or 6 episodes in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at our thumbnails, the Joker appears a lot.
The early ones, because when we really focused on like early episodes of news, that was the only news. I mean, this for 4 years that we've been doing this. That was the only news for 2 fucking years of like. New leaked of the Joker. You hear this?
Yeah,
it's about to start again.
I feel like the best example of us like talking shit about the internet was the bracket that we did of like the dumbest internet fights that people get into, and we really fucking laid into the DC people and the Star Wars cocks for I think an hour and a half. We talked so much shit that day.
Yeah,
but we kept bringing it up.
That happened when I was watching Obi-Wan. I'm watching the first episode of Obi-Wan with Harrison, and we're just kind of like talking about like where the show starts and like what, you know, where in the air, you know, it's kind of reminding him there's a little thing at the beginning, and then I find myself like ranting for 10 minutes about fucking how like Star Wars sucks now because you don't make art for the fans, you make art and then fans find it and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they just sucked all the fun right the fuck out of it.
They did. I like what I love about our show too. I guess this is go with the topic, but because what Brian was saying is, we don't do the thing that made being fandom modernly like exhausting. Where it's like we have all these come here and we're like these theories and speculate and then build this shit up in our head of why we didn't like it, and then we all go to see Star Wars and we go, well, that's not the toys I was gonna play with.
That's why we're not famous.
But that's why we're all sane.
I hate
that and the oversaturation of fucking podcasts as a whole.
Yeah, I'm just also, it's wildly, I would say in general too negative, just not, we don't like enough new stuff to really get popular. We would have to like love, you know what I mean? All the new stuff we like.
No, yeah, and also I think it's the format of what we decide to do, and I love this format. It's like it's just a book club where one person is forcing the other people to watch the movie that they want. And we tend to pick old movies, random movies like TA or obscure movies like Brian's.
It's funny. I was thinking about at the
don't
beginning.
Drive.
I was going through to like figure out for the questions later, and I realized at the beginning of the show, I'm like, oh, this is the era of the show where we're all doing the same thing too.
Yes.
Like we're all just kind of like trying to pick the worst movie and punish each other, and I like the movie. We pretty quickly evolved away from that, and that got more of like you're talking about, where everybody has their own vibe of the type of movies they pick, and like we mix it up, but like, you know, there's more of a and I like that a lot better. I was looking back at some of my old picks, and I was like, wasted, really.
Yeah,
like
time
RoboCop 3, really? Why?
That was early. That was like episode 3.
You know what thing probably people are super tired of? The DVD fucking bunker. Like, shut the fuck up, bro.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
First of all, someone would have to even know it exists to get tired of it.
Yeah. I remember one episode where I literally went through the trouble of bleeping every time you said DVD bunker in the episode.
That's more ever. What's funny is the people will they're probably going to look up what we were even talking about if they watch that episode.
You went through an episode of Jusef once where you transcribed word for word what he reviewed a movie as once.
Yeah.
That was a great bit. That was for The Long Kiss Goodbye.
I never put that much effort in anything we've ever done.
I literally
Actually, that's not true.
I listened to the entire episode and I just wrote every single point Brian made. And I just kept like hearing the conversation and waiting for like, okay, this sentence kind of makes sense in here. I'm just going to interject and just read off.
It's true. I did have a lot of good points though.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. The DVD bunker.
Obviously, Brian, we have the whole thing where you didn't think it was going to last.
Absolutely.
Like I tried to like obviously mimic some like podcast styles of like doing the voice, and there was a moment where I had a noise like thing on my phone to do like a soundboard, and you guys were just like, "What the fuck are we doing? What are you doing?"
Yep.
And I was just like,
I don't remember that at all. I almost quit.
So 2 or 3, it was like the Tom Cruise scream from The Mummy, and I kept trying to like insert it, and you're like,
I kind of remember that.
Yeah. You know, like that's what worked, because then by that like 3rd episode, we're like, oh, someone picks a different movie and leads it each time, and then topic and all that shit. It's crazy.
It's weird that first 10 episodes, let's call them 5, 6. I remember I learned early on can't get trash to go on. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, we got trashed very early on.
And then we I think really hit our stride like when we like all like the show came together. I always put it as those Halloween episodes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in between the first 2 Halloween episodes is probably like where the show really kind of got. And it's funny though, like we're slow going. We're only bi-weekly, so you know we took our time. But you know I didn't want to get sappy or sentimental or anything. I'm still not going to. But I did have to say, I was fully thinking back to what TJ was saying about how you're gonna like how I didn't expect it, and I didn't. I was like, oh, this is gonna be one of those things where we'll do this for a couple weeks and it'll fall apart. And this has been sincerely a very fulfilling friendship and much more satisfying than I think I ever expected it to be. So thanks, boys. Let's now to the topic.
Honestly, the most surreal thing that we've done. I thought Pittsburgh would be the top thing surreal, like fucking 4 strangers sleeping in the same house. We really didn't know each other. Like one of us could have easily killed all of us.
Sure. You guys killed me easily.
You were dead. You almost killed yourself.
You rolled over and showed your belly. It was very
But the most surreal thing that I've done is like form a friendship through a podcast, which essentially like we're just putting it out into the world our conversations, because this is not technically a podcast. It's just us shooting the shit. Yeah. Which is all podcasts essentially, but
this is like our DMs. Only we did.
But recorded.
But
being stone drunk out of my head at Joe's wedding was the most surreal thing. It's like I met this guy 4 years ago on the internet. What the fuck am I doing here? This is his most intimate, special moment, and I'm here.
And I'm here for like one of the biggest events of his life.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great.
We talked about the Joker together.
But that's what I say is like I would truly ride or die for you guys. Like you guys are 4 guys are more important than majority of people I know or interact with. So like the fact that you guys did that originally,
the older you get, the harder it is to form close friendships, or like the less often it happens. Especially organically. If you're a person like me, I'm never chasing that, so like it has to happen very organically, or I just like nope, I'll just keep to myself. I'm cool. So
I forced it on Brian though.
To be fair, there was a little bit of that, but
I forced it.
You happened to be right this time.
I kept like pinching him against the wall. I was like, hey, and he's like
like a little too familiar, you know, you're funny, but it's like, and I get that you're doing the mean thing.
I just knew that you were the one to get to the show. I wanted to get to the fight game show. I was like, I'm gonna go through this motherfucker.
What's great too is over 4 years, like we've all had, and it's we're also friends, but we're also creative partners and whatnot. Had the ups and the downs of great times, some never big fights, but fights, this and that, and like that's just what being friends and like life is
Yeah,
about.
Joe,
So it's
Shocked
great.
with
the
anybody
fuck off.
watching.
I did recently. I was having a
Sometimes
bad
I'm
day,
difficult and opinionated.
and you were having a bad day too. And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
But the only
Topic.
the one topic I want to bring up is the where we really fucking hit it, and we even got the DM from Christian Harloff because he was upset when we parodied the Schmodown, and
Yes.
and TJ had to get in direct contact, and he was like, "Yo, what the hell?" To the point where then TJ and I went to the live show. He recognized TJ, and then he sent another DM and brought it up on their like Collider like podcast show that week, being like, "We settled this shit. This was
Dude,
cool."
I went so hard on those things. Like
Yeah.
I really fucking you guys like lived the personalities of the prototypes of the people that answered the questions, but I was like fully on making fun of Christian Harloff. Like just his money, like desperation for money, like the bit I even bought a fucking square to put on my phone and I kept charging you guys credit cards.
The fact that
I had to put that fucking cha-ching thing in every time that noise.
it was such a good bit.
I get to work on my Jay Washington, so that was
Yeah.
Jay, and you did also you did Roche.
I did
that was
Roche.
all right.
Yeah.
I just did a
Yeah.
generic
The
sunglasses.
sunglasses guy, right? You did
which could
sunglasses.
which any
It
of
could be
one of
any
a
of them.
dozen men.
But that was really
So
fun.
That was a very fun and very specific bit. I remember us sharing it and Lon being like, I'm on this show, right?
Yeah.
Like, God bless Lon and Janine for understanding what
Yeah,
we
they
were
get it.
doing.
Shout out to them, yep.
But the fact that like creators of the Schmodown at that time sat down and watched that parody and were probably like, "What is this? Are they
The
complimenting
fact that
us?"
somebody had to watch us do it is so funny. That somebody's job was to sit down and watch us do it.
It's like, "Do you
So
see this?
funny.
Thing ever.
I heard you're taking shots at us," and it's like, because like we could have put that up and no one could have ever seen it, but like I made the thumbnail to mimic their logo at the time.
Yeah.
You know, like
We went all out.
like
What
we
was the
made
name? What was the name of our show?
SmackDown. We
SmackDown.
we made title
SmackDown.
cards.
God, we got to bring
That
that
is
back.
so funny.
We should bring it back. We could
I
wear
would have
all.
to watch some Schmodown to bring it back. I haven't watched
Nah,
it in so long.
just put a surgical mask on and like.
No, there's a paywall, Brian. You can't watch it.
Wait, really?
I think so. I don't know.
Oh,
There's no free anymore.
I don't think so. I never
it
seen
pops
it.
up.
That's wild. That is
Yeah,
wild.
we were able to make fun of it because we used to be fans of it.
Yeah, we were
We
fans.
really
Well,
were fans of it.
absolutely. I did.
And it just
I
went down the
enjoy
drain.
idea of
The
trivia.
It fucked up for me when people started paying their way onto it because
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
when we started
Free to
making
play
fun of it.
aspect is when it got
Fuck
really.
you.
All right.
the,
You're right.
All right.
Yusef, you were right 10 minutes ago when you said it was topic
Topic.
time. It's
yeah,
topic
time. Sorry, it's a memorabilia.
No, I love
episode.
reminiscing. I love us too.
Brian,
Yeah.
This is for us. This episode.
topic?
This isn't for listeners.
yeah.
my ass itches.
Which
Favorite-
one was
Favorite
mine?
first time watch.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. Yeah, favorite first time watch. A lot of movies on here are old favorites to one of us, but never, showed. I
Yeah, never
specifically
usually.
love to pick obscure movies and get my hopes dashed by showing these guys comedies that I think are funny. Never have four guys who get along so well have such disparaging taste in comedy. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, what were your favorite first time watches? Anybody can.
Mine is recent. Like I was looking through all the things, and
I've got fairly recent ones too.
I realized that I've seen most of them, and the ones that I haven't seen, I didn't like. So the one that I did like, surprisingly, was Freddy Got Fingered.
Oh yeah.
That is
That
also
was-
on my list.
I vaguely watched it when I was like, I don't know, 11 or 10, so I thought that it didn't count. I only remember the sausage scene, the one with the piano.
Yeah, it's the.
But yeah, that I really gained a huge. Well, I mean, if you see our conversations, like all of us came to the same conclusion that most, if not all, of the comedies, the absurd comedies of today, wouldn't exist without this movie. This like bold.
They at least owe us some debt to.
Yeah.
And like I agree that it wasn't my favorite movie, but as far as favorite first time watches, the experience and the discussion that came from it, and the kind of like cultural artifact of what it represents and what Tom Green meant and what he was versus what we thought he was. There's a lot that turned out. It was a very a very fertile movie for us.
Yeah, it was a happy accident too. You know?
Yeah, it's a great. Like Brian said, like I don't think I didn't hold Tom Green in any light at
No.
all prior
No.
to that episode.
That
And when I
movie-
saw it, I was like, oh fuck, he actually is a fucking genius. Like he's funny.
Well, I mean, I watched some Tom Green show, but like it still changed my perspective on him. It's to some extent. There's at the bare minimum, you have to have some begrudging respect
Yeah.
for what Tom
That
Green
was-
is. Like
That was on my list for years to put on the show. Like, oh, maybe you want to do Freddy Got
you
Fingered.
can't tell what's gonna hit.
What?
Good point, Brian.
Sorry, I tried to change my Wi-Fi. It's
I
not
thought
doing
Joe
anything.
and Brian both froze.
Yeah.
Amazing. This is so
It
good.
was.
I have two. They kind of coincide with each other because for me, I feel like me and Brian kind of have some of the same '90s action taste with a lot of these movies. But I think you said maybe picked one of these. I know you definitely picked the other. Maybe you picked them both. But for me, I don't know how they got out of my range. But Surviving the Game with Ice-T. And that was probably one of my favorite first watches I've seen with this one because it's like that's something I would see out of nowhere on like A&E, like randomly one day or USA or something crazy like
That's
that.
a TNT Sunday afternoon special for sure. Yeah.
And then the other one is Long Kiss Goodnight, which completely was out of my sights. Never even thought about it. And then once you guys start talking about that, what was the other one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bill Paxton, Jamie Lee Curtis?
Oh, True Lies.
True Lies.
Yeah, it reminded me of like that. Like
True Lies Santa gave to me.
Together and just assumed they were the same movie for some reason. But like once we watched it, I'm like, this is completely different than what I ever thought. Those two movies, like I could do a back to back all day long and just like a rainy ass
Yeah, that's
day.
a solid 2-pack. I can get into that.
Yeah, it's a good one. For me, I mean, it's easily the Lord of the Rings, guys. That was like, that was like my like personality linchpin of I've never seen Lord of the Rings, right? And you
had
guys
to pull the trigger on it sometime. Might as well do it with us, right?
I'll say this: I've watched that trilogy 3 times now since I had to watch it. I rag on it as like to be annoying, but they're good movies.
With it?
What?
Yeah. You watch any of the Hobbits with it?
No, I've never watched the Hobbits. I've suffered. No. No, it's fine. That's definitely the one because that was really like something. It's like you should see the Lord of the Rings trilogy at some point. I still got to give the extended a try at some point and blah blah blah. But that was
steps. Yeah, they're not going anywhere,
No.
Yeah.
And there's others, but I'll let Jusef. What's you?
I already said mine.
Brian's first. Yeah.
Brian, sorry.
Well, I pretty got figured on it, but also a recent watch, Matchstick Men.
Was
just a very solid movie, and also from one of my favorite directors. Just like knock it off. Why haven't I seen this? This is great. Great Nicolas Cage, great Sam Rockwell, great Ridley Scott movie. A couple of honorable mentions that were kind of in the middle for me. One is a Flyover State of Fear, and not even an episode I was on. I watched it to watch Joe's episode about the Wicker Man. And God damn, is the original Wicker Man a fucking treasure.
It's amazing.
A treasure, yeah. That was my first watch for the show.
I have to thank the whole world for somehow not revealing to me that the Wicker Man was a musical. And going into it and not knowing that and then experiencing that was like,
Brian, I didn't know that either.
So rad.
I don't remember if I reflect that on my episode.
That's what was happening.
I don't remember if I reflect that on my episode of Fear, but I remember that I didn't know that too before.
I mean, it's not like your traditional type of musical, but it is obviously
It's a musical.
Yeah, it's definitely.
To me, the ending of that movie, I think there's no other movie that I can compare it to on the way that it makes me feel, that desperation that the main character is expressing, and everybody's just like
everybody's partying, and
we're on a little bit of a tangent here, but I presented this question at the end of my episode to my guest, and do you think that movie should, because of the ending, should not have been called and marketed with the ending? It should not be called The Wicker Man and been marketed literally with the man burning.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been something. It would have been cool to have some other way
yeah.
to surprise people, like
called Summer Isle. Anyway,
Yeah.
An honorable mention for me is, because of stuff like Fear, is one of the very first episodes, Night of the Creeps. I absolutely adore that movie.
Fucking Eric got picked.
Yeah, TJ. I love a TJ pick, because if it's in TJ's brain, it's gonna be so fun to watch how annoying it is, or I'm gonna absolutely love how weird it is. Like,
even when you watch a TJ movie, even if it's bad, it's like you still get something out of it because you learn a little bit more about why TJ is the way TJ is.
Yeah, it's not you're not picking
another piece of the puzzle. Is whoop, whoop.
You're not picking stuff like Brazil, where I'm like, yeah, this is art. There's already a podcast on it if I want to dissect it.
So perfect segue to our next topic.
Oh, I didn't do my other honorable mention, which was Avengers End Game. It was the first time watch, and we all got to get together to talk about it.
Yeah, that's sweet.
No,
I'm trying to like get these poignant moments in, but you guys keep stepping on it.
I feel like I feel like there's so many of them. Like, I don't know, but
you guys have no idea how confident I was walking out of Endgame with Joe and Laura. Me like, I didn't like this fucking movie. I can't wait till tomorrow night, and just watching myself collapse on camera as the time went on, going, "That's no."
Well, we talked about times we got too drunk. That might have been part of your problem on that one. You had clear ideas that you could not express.
You know what? If you want to see me be too drunk, watch the last Halloween episode of trying to run through the Jason films.
Yeah. I mean, no. Watch. If you want to see me drunk, watch the Halloween Resurrection, where I literally cut my hand and we just keep recording, and I'm just super drunk, bleeding out of my hand.
What's the one where I do the face like this?
Oh fuck!
Oh man, there's that one. I was hammered. I came back from like happy hour.
Yeah, someone got a good screenshot out of it too.
That was a great episode. We just kept fucking with Joe. We just kept interrupting Joe, and he was just drunk and angry.
Jusef, for like a year, you would just reply to my tweets with like, "I miss him," because it's the face, like it's the drunk face. That was fun.
Right. Speaking of him,
that's fun.
Topic. Joe mentioned one of the movies that I picked, and I thought I was picking an amazing movie, and everybody's gonna be, and then everybody's just like, yeah, we saw it, and it was so like painful.
Or because it's like such a piece of art, it would prompt such discussion.
Yeah, the discussion is like,
so Howard and Maude.
It's so weird. Oh, that scene was so weird.
The world of Brazil, yeah.
Cool.
And we were all just like, it was fine.
You did that with Howard and Maude, right? Like, there was a really good discussion on that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think I cut out earlier when I was saying you can't predict the movie. You can't pick a movie thinking it's going to be a good. You just have to pick from the heart, and some hit and some don't, and you can't never tell.
Yeah, it's but I don't know. But Brazil's one of those ones where I'm like, maybe do I give it one more watch one of these days?
I think
our consensus was that it was good. I don't think anybody.
Yeah, everybody was like, yeah, I liked it, but I thought like people would, but that wasn't even my pick. My pick was the one that I actually heard, and that I thought that the episode would have been more lively.
Explain what the topic is. I think we went right into talking about Brazil.
The hardest watch, like in terms of like you picked a movie and then everybody just shitted on it, or nobody liked it, or it was like meh episode.
I took it as hardest revisit, like movie that aged the worst, or like you had the most.
Answer it both ways, because
that's kind of where I went.
I have an answer.
Okay, we can answer both ways, yeah. But to me, the one that actually hurt, and I was like during recording, I was like, wow, this is nothing. Clue. When we watched Clue, everybody was just like.
I think comedies are hard.
I like Clue.
Yeah, but the episode was so deflated. As soon as we hit Clue, everyone was like, "Yeah, I like."
I think Joe's right that comedies are hard to talk about too.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's hard. Because that would be my picks as far as ones that get shitted on. I already mentioned it earlier. Anytime I think of comedy has been a failure.
Like think about right. I've Fear, right? It's easy to talk about horror even if it's bad.
We get it, Joe. We get it.
No.
But you're gonna start bleeping him, Jesus Christ!
I'm gonna fucking bleep you if you keep going.
But like comedies that are just straight comedies for the most part, like not like Spice World released anywhere. That's a fucking weird movie. Or Freddy Got Fingered. I've always found like they're fun to watch, and like if we were all hanging out together, drinking beers, and like sitting on the couch talking about them, we'd enjoy the hell out of Clue. But I think because we like have to sit down and then go, and this happened, wasn't that funny? It's like, yeah, it was a nice bit.
Well, that's what I think. I think there's really only one thing to analyze about comedies, and that is like, does the
Well, I'm
comedy
glad that I picked a
joke-
comedy for this episode.
No, this one I was a fucking delight.
do the jokes hit for you personally? And that's really the only thing there is to like get into with a comedy, and that's so subjective it makes it hard. Like, and then if everybody likes it, what is there to say? Yep, that was funny. We all enjoyed that, you know.
That's like the wedding episode, right? Like I picked I Love You Man, and like I love that movie. I'm sure our discussion was just like mid kind of like
a good
okay
romance episode.
Yeah.
The topics were good on that one.
I picked Airborne, which is a great comedy, and you guys,
Airborne was a fun one because that movie's fucking trash.
It's a piece of shit.
Devil's Canyon, right, TJ?
Yeah, Devil's Candy sucked.
No, Devil's Canyon.
And they had the gall to film in Cincinnati. It has like the longest hill they have, like it's like 20 feet.
In Cincinnati.
House of Devil Suck, not Devil's Candy. Anyway.
What about you, TJ? I feel like this topic is like catered to 99% of your picks. What was the hardest one?
We revisited a lot of TJ's childhood favorites. Did anything not stand the test of time?
Yes, there's a big one.
Why is this attacking me now?
No, it's not you.
No, we're curious. We're just curious.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not like a TJ pick. It was Monster Squad is my answer.
Oh, no.
Because we were all like, that's a blast of a movie, and then we all watched it, and we were all kind of like, this gets kind of rough. Like it's still a fun movie, but that was
the concept is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Goonies meet the Universal Monsters is a lot of fun.
It never gels, and it's boring. Like a big chunk of it is boring.
That was my disappointment, but that wasn't a TJ pick. TJ was like, I'm gonna hit it out of the park with this one.
I thought I was gonna nail that one.
And even TJ in that episode was like, oh, that was rough.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Well, say Brian with Drowning Mona, because I feel like Jusef
that's the rough one.
Yeah, I feel like Jusef and Joe were like, oh, I love that. I can't wait to see it. I don't know if Joe, that might have been your first time too, but I actually kind of saw Jusef.
It was first time seeing Drowning Mona.
After we watched that, the conversation just kind of was like,
what?
Well, I don't know what it was about it. I don't know if I thought it was a bunch of different movies when I went into it, like Mama.
I didn't like Drowning Mona.
I don't think anyone did.
I love Drowning Mona.
I think the one comedy that divided us was Cabin Boy. That one you hit.
Yeah.
TJ came with me.
I was not on board with Cabin Boy.
Me neither.
Cabin Boy's another one of those you're with it or you know what I mean. It's like you buy in or you don't, and that's the thing. It's wild that we do get along, and we all find each other very funny, and our comedy tastes are very similar, but like somehow we still like have these weird outliers. Like
we're more of a comedy podcast at the end of the day than a movie podcast.
I always
that's hilarious.
Like a Joe Rogan, you know.
Oh yeah. Take these
4 Rogans. So let's change the name, guys. I'm ready for a name change. 4 Rogans.
Cowboy for me, okay, that's a perfect one because me and Brian were all over it, and I just watched Joe and Jusef all the time going like, "What are you talking
about?" What movie did they fucking watch?
That's one of those ones. At least like Drowning Mona is a movie me and my wife both love and have tried to introduce it to so many people in our lives, and no one has ever connected with it. I don't know.
Couldn't have picked up the Smoochie.
But like, Cabin Boy is one I was ready. I knew that would be divisive. It's like this is not everyone's cup of tea, but we'll see what's up. You know,
that was a good one. That had a good conversation. Like that was one of those picks that was not like the comedy X to be like this is gonna
Yeah.
Brian,
you have one?
Oh, absolutely, of course. Hardest revisit, I think, a movie that I really enjoy, and I don't enjoy many rom-coms, and this one came up, and I was like, yeah, we're doing it. Never Been Kissed, boy. Just problematic, just up and down, right?
But that one produced a great episode though, because
and we already talked about a great thumbnail.
We destroyed that.
That was a movie I picked that I had never seen.
Yeah. And I had seen it and was excited. I was like, "Yeah, I like this movie. I'm ready to get into it." And then I watched the whole thing like,
Talking about good thumbnails.
I remember, I sorry, Joe. I remember it being so fucking wholesome and beautiful, and it's like, oh my god! And suddenly you're like an adult, and you're like, ooh, that's in his eyes, that's a 17-year-old, and he wants to fuck the shit out of her, huh?
He is fully into it.
Joe, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I would say talking about good thumbnails of questionable movies. Just one of the guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have our stuff to the right of me just to spark things.
My computer wants to.
That was a questionable ass movie, but two movies. I mean, we could just go through whatever that really like. I was bummed that when I was like, oh, they didn't like them or get it.
I don't know if you
was House of the Devil was like not the conversation that I thought was going to spark, and then the other one was Drive Angry. So this is gonna be a ton of fun, and then like
I had fun with Drive Angry.
Yeah.
Brian really
I burned Drive
it.
Angry to the ground. I remember that one.
Brian really fucking hated it.
That was I think my biggest one.
Pre-Amber Heard trial.
Well, yeah, that was before like whatever. I don't care Amber Heard's in it.
That's before she shitted the bed.
Yeah.
Shit the bed.
Whatever. I'm gonna watch that movie still and have a great time and be like, wow, what a trash person. Like half of Hollywood.
I have another one that was another Joe pick, and this was a movie that he picked, and I was upset because I knew it was bad, and then it was so much worse than I even remembered, which was Lucky Number 11.
No, that was TJ pick.
Oh,
that was not a TJ pick. No,
that was a TJ pick.
That was you pick. That was
100% you. No, that was a TJ
1000% Joe.
No, I love Lucky Number
1000% Joe pick, dude. Everybody's saying it was you.
I even remember because you picked
what the fuck? You're literally fighting against three people.
I guess
he's like, no.
I guess it wasn't me. I thought it was TJ.
No, I've never seen that movie before that.
That's a Joe pick, and I remember I was like, ugh. And then I had to watch it, and I was like, how is this even worse than I expected?
Alright, this comes from the guy who picked The Big Hit and fucking Bonafide Kings or whatever.
That movie's so fucking bad.
Which one?
The Mafia Kings or some shit like that.
Oh, Suicide King.
Suicide King. Like Lucky Number 7's just the same lane of movie.
I feel like Suicide Kings is a much better movie if you pull Dennis Leary out of it.
And also, I picked The Big Hit. That was me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't pick The Big Hit. That was a TJ.
We do pick a lot of one thing is about our
show
show is we pick a lot of things from 1999, and we pick a lot of Tarantino ripoffs.
There.
Well, we like movies that are about dudes, about like 4 or 5 dudes in a group together, like bros. You know, we like bro movies because we're bros.
TJ's very shitty pick was Running Scared. That one.
I was just thinking about that right now. That was a bad.
Yeah, I'm sorry, TJ. That was the one I was thinking of because I remember loving Running Scared.
Well,
and
that
then
was like Ryan said he went back and looked at his things like, why? And that's one of the ones where I went, I don't know. I thought I was going to blow your mind. You guys were like, what the fuck is this?
No,
I
remember I picked up the Blu-ray. I was like, sweet, we're going to watch Running Scared. I love this movie. It's crazy. Like, you know, like, oh, so much drama in it. And then I'm like, oh, why is Miss Honey a pedophile?
Yeah. What do you make Miss Honey a pedophile? All right, topic. Let's actually do a topic.
We have fun.
Hey, we're finally done jerking each other off. Let's do some let's do some show.
Go. I don't know whose topic this is.
It was mine. Favorite because it's Pride Month and we're doing To Wong Foo.
LGBT. Let's say LGBT.
LGBT.
The spectrum.
Okay.
I don't know if I honestly don't know if
QIA plus.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Them all?
Favorite LGBTQ plus.
QIA? Do we do QIA?
Cut back to when we said you don't want to hear forces.
Remember when it cut out about the thing I said that you guys should have listened?
Yeah, but just that to kind of lead us into To Wong Foo. Jusef, what is your favorite?
I looked up the list. And there are a bunch of them that I really loved.
Why are you putting them on a list?
The IndieWire put them on the list. So if you want to send a complaint, send it to IndieWire.
I have a complaint about the list. Sometimes the list is a regular movie that just has gay characters, and not. I was looking for more something that like had something to say about the gay experience. Like, Smart is a very good movie with a gay character in it, but it's not really about being gay.
Well, my pick it has to do with it, and that is Hedwig and the Angry Itch. I fucking love that movie.
still have
Amazing
not seen it.
musical. Is a great musical, great performance, very creative, has weird visuals. Is clearly somebody that had an idea for fucking 10 years, 10, 15 years, and finally made it and just kept kind of like Get Out or Squid Game. Like it's clearly somebody just kept thinking about it, keep thinking about it, and finally was able to execute it. The lead, he's playing Joe, the Tiger King in that series that
Joe
nobody
Exotic?
watched. Yeah. But he is so fucking good in that movie. It's very weird, very creative. All the songs, like honestly, like it got to a point where I would just kept listening to the soundtrack over and over again because the songs like slap. They're so good. They're very fun, and it's a very unique story of how this gay man, in order to be able to immigrate to the United States, had to pretend to be a woman and marry this soldier, and he was forced into becoming a transsexual, essentially. And then it's just him telling the story of what happened to him and how his former lover betrayed him and stole all his songs. That's kind of like the basis of the story. It's
I've heard it
very
mentioned.
funny.
I've heard people recommend it. I've never gotten a chance to watch it myself.
Same.
I've thought about picking it, but it's one of those movies that I hold to my chest, and if you guys don't like it, I don't think I could continue watching the episodes with you guys. So it's like I've never.
That'd be the end of. I don't have to end the podcast because you guys didn't like it.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? This is mine.
There's been a couple of movies like that where I was like, if TJ doesn't respect Drunken Master, I'm gonna fucking end this show.
That was an all timer.
That was my pick. I love that movie.
There's another good one of your whoever The Crow. I think that was one of mine when first visit. Sorry, this is the wrong topic.
What about you, Brian? What is one of your LGBTQ plus movies?
I've two. I picked one, an older and a newer. The first one is probably the movie that even introduced me to the idea that queer cinema is even a thing, and it's the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Ooh, great pick.
Not just the movie itself, but the experience. I got taken to a live Rocky Horror show when I was much too young, and it was a very eye-opening, which is weird because I'm kind of from a conservative family, but for some reason there have been historically, despite my where growing up in Ohio, there have been my family had quite a few gay people in it, and like out gay people in my family, even though it was like the 70s and 80s. So I don't know, like I already knew about Rocky Horror. Like Sweet Transvestite was just a song that was like on in my house at Halloween time when I was a kid. So it's like you didn't like.
Yeah, I also think that movie, like, because it is disguising like the horrorness of it, like especially at the time.
Well, it's camp. It's very camp as well.
Yeah,
it's
camp, and
it gets disguised. It gets disguised as like I could see someone going, "Oh, that is a queer movie," and not just like.
Well, it's not registering it, but I mean, like, it's a super duper queer movie.
Yeah,
like, it's 1,000% queer movie.
So,
and then more recently, and this is one that I don't know if people kind of maybe think it's passe or whatever, it's overblown or blah blah blah. But Power of the Dog was a fucking great movie on Netflix.
Never saw it.
I mean, they're just dropping Oscar contenders for free on Netflix, and we all have it. And like, it was an incredible.
Is this a fucking ad?
It's kind of like a slow burn thriller, but like at the core of it, there is like a story about queerness and self-loathing and repression and like how having to like live your life as a lie can damage you as a person, and like it's just a very fucking good movie. And like whatever Sam Elliott doesn't I'm sorry that Sam Elliott's
Sam Elliott is the pussiest man.
Like I'm sorry that Sam Elliott's just a dumb guy who like thinks that he rode a horse on a movie, so he's a tough guy or whatever. But Roadhouse still kicks ass, Sam Elliott, but you're wrong about this, okay? So
yeah, cut to like Patrick Swayze in this fucking movie he did Roadhouse with him, and he's like embracing the queer aspect of life. TJ, what about you?
I mean, mine's just like easy pick off the tree. Moonlight for me was one of those movies.
Great movie.
Moonlight, like it's just this amazing movie. Period. And it happens to be
And it's like the best part is like the 3 level of it where it's like in young high school and then as an adult. throughout all the different characters throughout the film, and like
They're
I
one of those
don't know,
Oscar
it's like around the
contenders.
time when like we kind of not around time when we started. It's like 2017, so yeah, maybe around that.
Yeah, no, we were in the
I
show.
started really like watching movies and like kind of locking into it, not just making like or watching like Ace Ventura and shit like that. Like actually like watching those movies that like I hate to be that guy who's like I'm gonna watch the Oscar nominated films. Like I did that
I try to watch them all.
times. Thought it was something, and then like watch the fruition of it into the Oscars, and like that obviously everyone knows what happened then with them and La La Land.
La La Land.
But like that movie for me also
The
had
right movie won. Let's just say that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's I don't know what
And I
it
love La La Land, and yes,
Yeah, it was
1000%.
not-
like La La Land. Everyone knows what I feel about it. It's something else we talk about. The topic we did before, where I just mentioned shit all the time. But for me, like Moonlight was like something that I just like locked into, tears down my face the entire film, and like happy.
dude, I cried at the movie theater. That's
Yeah.
one of the few movies that I cried at, and I was just like,
When Mahershala Ali takes me in the ocean, the baptism, like that, like it's I don't know, it's just like one of those films that forever I will always, but it's hard because I think it's such an amazing, impactful film that you watch it and like you can't watch it like every year. It's like one
No.
you just throw on when you're feeling it.
There's movies like that that are great that I'm like some movies that have been like I've never been able to go back to. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like some of like there's even ones I bought that I don't think I've ever, like I don't think I've ever revisited City of God. I was like, God damn, what a great movie! That's incredible.
Yes.
And then I own it, and then it's like I am never in the mood to watch City of
Yeah.
God.
It's too
What
intense.
about like
It has
Whiplash?
moments that are amazing. And
I
obviously, the
love
film is great.
Whiplash.
Period.
I'd probably revisit it.
But the stories in between, like Jusef said, like it's an amazing film, but it just happens you have such a strong, it's hard to say, like, for, obviously, from a white cis male, that type of thing, but it's a strong film that makes you feel no matter who you are, you know, the
yeah,
impact.
and
It's a
it's
beautiful
what
movie.
Yeah.
and it's what I mentioned, like when I picked the movie that we're gonna watch today. I truly believe in the power of movies in the sense that it could open a very small window and a very small perspective into a life that you've never experienced or even heard about, like on a person to person level. And Moonlight is such a great small window into this poor black man
Mhm.
trying to not only survive the poverty and his drug addicted mother, but also battle with the systemic oppression, like this masculinity that the black male have to express, and he's just gay. He's just trying to be him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah. So I have one, and it's a little more, I guess, like outside the box because I've been thinking about it more recently as like it would be in this list. Because I watched it recently for the first time in a while. That's Dog Day Afternoon. This
Oh,
piece
yeah.
of this piece of like you know 70s new Hollywood cinema that's regarded, and I'm like, oh, that's like right in there with of the era of like a Midnight Cowboy and things like that, where you're like, no, that this is
It's another good pick, but that was more subtle.
that was more subtle, but like Dog Day Afternoon is literally like robbing a bank because I'm a repressed man in a relationship who has a relationship with another man who needs to get a sex change to become a woman, and I'm robbing the bank to do so and run away and abandon my two kids, and like it's right there, and I've been kind of going back and forth of like, does this fit in this camp or is it just this character?
I'll tell you what, movies from that era, that late 70s era, where they're like really exploring. I mean, I told you I watched that Scream Queen about about Nightmare 2 and about queer horror, and they talk a little bit about how like in that area at the end of the 70s, you had like the free love of the 60s, and it kind of evolved, and like there was a real openness and acceptance of sexuality happening, and then like the AIDS crisis comes, and kind of all of a sudden there's a new stigma, and it's like now it's a plague, and you're being punched, but like there is a cool time like right there at the late 70s and early very
like
super early 80s where you're getting what you're talking about, the Midnight Cowboys and stuff like that too. So that's really interesting. That's a good pick. I like that a lot.
Yeah, because I watched it the other week and I'm like, this is because my other thing is like, well, we
also
all have
just
like
an excellent movie.
yeah, and I think people more remember this bank heist movie, and I'm like, oh, it's not just that. And I know Al Pacino at the time I've never seen Cruising, but in another movie.
Also, I wouldn't even call it a heist movie. It's more like what do you call that? A negotiation movie, like more tension. A heist implies like the planning and execution of a heist. This is a different thing. It's like a hostage situation.
And then even at the end of the movie, when like they out Pacino on the TV, and James Cazale is like, I'm not gay, like really defensive of like, he's like, why does tell the TV stations to say that? Like they change the thing, like really like, because he's just his partner, his partner to rob the bank with.
Yeah.
Helping him get away.
Yeah.
His lover is in the crowd. Like it's a little more dynamic.
They use her as like the one to like bring him down in the negotiations.
Yeah, it would be a her. But yeah, it's a really interesting, like, it's more of an interesting movie. They like put it this way. I watched Dog Day Afternoon in like middle school and didn't like, and was like, oh, it's good cinema. And that shit didn't register. It's in there, but I mean, can we just say the main one for all?
Joe has one more, I think, a main one, right?
No, it's honor mention for all four of us.
Oh.
It's the Birdcage, because I think, like Jusef said,
we all like, it was so low hanging fruit, nobody wanted to take it, but yeah, obviously.
Saw it as a kid, thought it was hysterical, introduced me to who gay people are for the most part.
Also,
that in the movie In
Robin
and Out.
Williams in To Wong Foo is basically the same guy, right?
No, he's more flamboyant in To Wong Foo.
Yeah.
And in Birdcage, he's more douchey,
He's more of an alpha gay. He's like
alpha gay, yeah.
He's Miami.
Yeah, it's like what Joe's saying. Like Birdcage is literally
so maybe twin brother. Maybe they're brothers.
Yeah, that would be amazing if they were twin brothers.
This isn't like a queer film, but it is probably one of the kings. And Joel Schumacher, anything he's done.
Oh yeah.
It's him.
Oh yeah.
Lost Boys. Fuck anybody who doesn't like that.
Banging 20,000 dudes. Like, any of those things are impressive.
Just out and didn't give a fuck and did his own thing. And
made unabashedly queer stuff. Like, the Lost Boys, like, you could definitely 100% watch the Lost Boys through a queer lens. Like, there's no way.
We talk about it on my Fear episode. I covered about it.
We talk about it on our Flyby episode, too.
Yeah, two.
Wow, guys got spin-offs. Great, we get it.
Another honorable mention, it's not a movie, but the Chucky series.
There you go. Brian's show.
The TV show, because I don't think the movies, except for Seed, cover any of that, and like
not fair. Actually, Cult, if you remember, oh no, I'm sorry, Curse, the one where they're in the house.
Yeah.
Is
the woman,
is the whole thing with the mom and the au pair. So like from Bride of Chucky on, Don Mancini is working queer stuff into the movie.
It's in the movie, but it's not like out like Seed's out.
Right, whereas Seed is like fully about being a trans person.
Yes. That's my point. Like, so the Chucky series though is like the best modern day representation of that, and like phenomenal. Other honorable mentions, guys.
Honorable mention, and this one is also hits close home. I grew up watching Pedro Almodovar movies. He's very famous he's an openly gay man also, and he includes in every single movie just people of the community. Like, he'll have transgender actors, and they don't even mention that they're transgender. They just happen to be transgender. They have a lot of gay and lesbian representation, but the one that I love with all my heart, and is probably one of his best, if not his best movie, is Bad Education. That movie is very complicated to explain, but basically it's a writer running into a past lover, which two males, and they're just reconnecting on their past experiences in school, and he is telling him a story of a transgender woman that went to that school as well and got sexually assaulted by a professor or priest, and that's why he became a woman, because he was conflicted by his sexuality and what it meant to be attacked by an older gentleman. And it's kind of like a revenge plot towards the end. Like, they kind of get against like the dude that actually sexually assaulted the person. But that movie is like, honestly, this guy, what's his name? The Argentinian actor from Y Tu Mamá También and Old.
I know the guy. I can
I know who
see
you're
him, but I don't
talking
know his
about.
name.
Yeah, but he's the main one, and he's very fucking good in that movie. I think it's probably his best performance.
Not Gail Garcia Bernal.
Yeah, him.
Okay.
Gael Garcia.
I thought you were talking about Rufus Sewell, the older.
Oh
guy.
no, he's from Dark City.
Yeah, but that movie I fucking love. Any Pedro Pascal, Pedro Pascal, what the fuck? Any Pedro Almodovar movie.
You know why you said Pedro Pascal? Because he's oversaturated. Enough with Pedro Pascal already. Give me a break.
Yeah, give another Pedro a shot.
It shouldn't. You know what's written hard in Hollywood for a white man to get a job? Come on.
Yeah, give it a shot. Call a Jim or a Bob.
What's Jim from The Office doing? What's he up to?
Oh, stealing money. Any other mentions?
Fucking the show.
Yeah, fuck off. Some more good news. Yeah, fuck you.
Oh, also another honorable mention, and this is not just the horny 13-year-old in me, but Bound, right?
Yeah.
Bound, come on. And honestly, The Matrix, great queer cinema also, but
especially the last one.
Wild Things? Yeah, I think Wild Things counts.
Oh yeah.
Cruel Intentions?
Okay, we're
skidding off the rails. I think we're starting to slip a little.
No, we're just
skidding off the rails. We were doing very well.
I said not just things that made you horny when you were 13.
So that one scene
I want to take a timeout. All right, we're back. So finally we get to talk about my pick. I'm very excited that I picked this movie. It's been on my bucket list for a while to revisit. It was one of my childhood favorites. I remember watching it with my parents. My dad dead ass asleep. My mom laughing her ass off, and me just enjoying. I honestly didn't know what I was watching. I knew it was funny. I love
This is your Rocky Horror. It's like your first queer experience, you know? You're this is a kind of movie that can exist.
Yeah. So we watched To Wong Foo, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, Wesley Snipes, Patrick Swayze, John
Leguizamo. Got top billing. Did you guys notice? It's Wesley. And when the credits come, first of all, this is an Amblin movie. Executive producer Steven Spielberg, shout out. Woke King. But Wesley Snipes, first name, top billing over Pat Swayze.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing it now.
Patrick Swayze's the lead.
Definitely.
Like that's the.
But at the time in that era, it's hard. I mean, Wesley Snipes might have been the bigger star.
What I didn't.
Yeah, he would have been coming off White Man Can Jump.
I was saying this is like U.S. based on the shaved head. I want to say U.S. Marshals era.
U.S. Marshals, yeah.
92 is White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah, that's more like 97, right? 96.
This is 95. This is 95.
Okay. 95. Okay.
Yeah, Snipes is Demolition Man. He is the best. He's the top.
Demolition Man's 93, so he's probably
he's on a roll.
Yeah, Swayze's on the.
Swayze's coming back down.
He's just
Ghost
coming
is
like middling out.
Ghost is 91, so 90 or 91. So
so that makes sense.
So the movie centers around 3 drag queens, 2 veteran drag queens, which is Noxima, which is Wesley Snipes, which is Vida, which is Patrick Swayze, and they won a pageant, and they're going to California to represent the state of New York and the big drag queen pageant. And they take in their wings a young, scrappy Latina drag queen. Can you ask why the Latin boy is crying? Why the Latin boy in drag?
They do not allow her to be called. They will not. They refuse to call her a drag queen.
Drag princess.
They call her a Latin boy in a dress for a while.
Why is the Latin boy in drag crying? Chichi Rodriguez, which is John Leguizamo. At the time, he thought he was Puerto Rican. He's not. We already clarified that during the past.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's not Puerto Rican. He did DNA tests and he's Colombian.
Oh,
so say he's doing
Puerto Rican face. Yeah.
Yeah, but Perez.
But Fitz probably did think he was Puerto Rican.
No, yeah, he thought he was Puerto Rican, and then he did DNA test, and no, he's not. Which is very awkward because he was once the marshal of the Puerto Rican Day Parade. And yesterday I saw the Seinfeld Puerto Rican Day Parade. It was so fucking funny.
I'll tell you what, that's a good episode, right? And the uproar is
silly,
isn't it?
He's
doing the burning flag thing, and it's like all done in such a way that obviously is like it's just like the joke's always on Kramer. Like the Puerto Rican people are never shown anything but dignity. I hate that. It's one of those TV controversies that I fucking can't stand.
No, it's a good episode. Even my wife, that was her first time watching. She enjoyed it. But yeah, so this movie I fucking loved. The rewatch, it held up. Like, you know, it's funny. It's very endearing. It's very easy to watch. And what I loved about it is like they're characters. They're human characters, and they're not parodies of drag queens. But this is the first time for everybody?
Actually, I watched it probably like around the time it came out. And then I have not seen it since. And definitely what you're saying was like my first big point was
question though?
Their drag personas are on. Like, it's not no man in a dress shit. They are drag queens. They are fully active women.
I
didn't think
so. It's more.
So I'm not gonna lie.
I was kind of waiting.
Wait. Everybody, sorry.
Too much talking.
Ryan, finish your thought, and then Joe, and then TJ.
I'm sorry. My thought was just that they are all really invested. There's like, it's a very clear that they took it seriously. They're all playing their full personas. And I did not think that Wesley Snipes had the range, and he does. He's very good.
Well, you saw the fan, so you know.
No, Joe, what was your point?
No, what Brian was saying was like, I was kind of waiting for that scene that's in a lazier movie where like Patrick Swayze would then go like, you know, stop hitting her, like drop his voice.
That's
and
such a good point.
And he never does. He just plays that character who's a sweet, loving woman, and it's like, no, don't touch, you know, doing the character.
Everything is like this.
But I was waiting for anyone to do that voice.
When they're working on the car and he's holding the wrench.
Yeah. even Brian, even when Brian brings up of like Wesley Snipes, like not lowering the voice to go talk to the gang of rapists.
Right. Yeah. Even when she physically assaults that dude, she does it as a woman. Like, there's never any question. She never, again, like you said, there's no intimidation. She never uses her physicality. I mean, she grabs him and she's strong, but she never uses her physicality. When she walks over there, I mean, it's Wesley Snipes, so he is a head taller, and his shoulders are as wide as any two of those guys. Like, any two of those dudes could stand next to each other and not be as wide as Wesley Snipes.
Because they're like 2 out of the 3 are big dudes who are action stars.
Yeah.
And are still have the same build. It's not like they slimmed themselves down to.
Pat Swayze is kind of slim. When he first comes out at the which shout out, they definitely knew. They were like, we know we're going to put Patrick Swayze in a dress for this whole movie, so the first time you see him, he's almost going to be naked. You're going to see his full man body. That's for the ladies. Now we're doing drag. The rest of like from here on out, he's a woman, and it's totally convincing. But
he's definitely someone where if you were to touch,
if you were to, that's what I honestly loved about the movie is like the opening sequence outside of Chi-Chi. You show the male spectrum of them. And as soon as they put on the wig, you never fucking see them again. Like, it's just fucking drag. I was watching it with my wife she was watching it for the first time, and she enjoyed the movie. And she's like, why isn't this a bigger cult hit? Especially like with RuPaul's Drag Race taking over the fucking world. Like, why aren't people?
We don't talk to the right
maybe
people.
we're not in the
we might not be as connected
Twitter
to that aspect.
But she was watching it with me, and she likes to like talk and predict. Just like I do, and she's like, oh, so they're gonna escape the rapist sheriff by getting out of drag, and he won't be able to recognize them because they're males, but they never do that. They just went the other route. TJ, what was your question, baby? I left you in the corner for a while.
I don't want to get canceled.
It's okay. Sorry, this is a safe space.
I mean, I understand like a little bit of the drag culture where it's personality, something you put on. They never take it off, right?
Yeah.
So are they not essentially trans?
There's a scene that explains that.
Now Zima kind of gives the scene explain it. They basically are gay men who like to dress as very glamorous women, but they don't want to be a woman. They don't want to get the surgery. So that's the difference.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
And
no,
also,
I think the only reason they never take it off, and they point to it multiple times in the movie, is like they fear if they're gay males out in those woods.
Yeah.
they would get fucked up.
That's
but if
what
they're
I took it
pretending
as.
to
They
be
think,
women,
like their whole
they
thing is
kinda
they think they're
coach.
passing with the small town. That's why it's kind of a reveal later with Stockard Channing, obviously.
yeah, that
But-
was great. That
It's
was
weird
really
because like there was that moment, like you guys were saying, like Wesley never dropping his voice and Swayze never doing it either. When Leguizamo kind of gets cornered by all those guys on the farm, and then Jason London comes in and saves them, and she's like, "That's how you pick up a lady." I'm like, I was in my brain stuck in Hollywood mode where like he's gonna break out, probably like whoop some ass real quick, and then make his escape. And he was like, "Nope, never dropped it." So I was like, this is more of like this is them, not their person, not a character. This is them.
This
So that's
is-
why
Right,
No,
this isn't
yeah,
a
because-
Hollywood joke about a drag queen where they turn it where they're actually still a tough guy under there.
Well,
They are real drag
That's
queens. They
what
are
makes the movie
basically
very good.
essentially women. You know?
I've not watched Drag Race like Jusef has, but I've watched a couple episodes with my
Yeah.
wife, and like I think that's just a lot of drag's personalizes. Is they just take it through their full lives. Like,
Yeah.
like
because
you
it's
said,
kinda
TJ,
like a-
I was expecting the Hollywood-ized version of it, where it's like I'm presenting as a man 1 minute, but then I'm gonna put the drag on and I'm going straight on through.
And I feel the reason why it ended up being what it is because they went through like a drag boot camp. Essentially, they had like this drag mother. They
They all had like a coach, like a drag coach.
like a coach, yeah. But essentially, it's like this. They just put them through the ringer, and they just almost live with this person, and they just mimic. Like Chichi, I'm blanking on the name now, but it's an actual like a legend in New York. Like she's a Puerto Rican drag queen, a
Like
DJ,
there's
and
a
all that
real
shit.
Chichi Rodriguez or
Yes.
like something else.
Yeah,
close to
because
that.
I watched a lot of interviews, and I sent you one that I really love. But I watched a lot of interviews during this time, and they kept asking John Leguizamo, did he base his personality on like his mother, his aunt, and he's like, no, I really just idolized the drag queen, insert name here, and I just wanted to present her in this format. Like,
Well,
See,
for me, like first watch this movie, I was sitting there and like you guys made the point about Wesley Snipes. He kills it. He commits. He goes in. For me, Swayze does the most subtle and like the whole time, like I'm seeing Helen Mirren almost when I'm watching him.
Yeah, that's a good.
Very, like,
Snipes feels like a drag queen you'd see on Drag Race, whereas Pat Swayze feels like an actual woman you would just see at the store. Like, you know what I mean? She'd be working. She could be in office. She could be the secretary at your office or whatever. Like, you know what I mean?
But I was watching League of Their Own yesterday, and like the scene where Tom Hanks is drunk on the bus. The bus driver quits because of the little kid, and he kisses
I can't remember her name, the matron lady. Yeah.
And then he like freaks out, and then he's like, "I loved you in the Wizard of Oz." Like I see that every time I saw Patrick Swayze like in it, but like every time he opened his mouth, I was like, I believe it. That's like the whole thing. I was like, all in on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like 30 minutes in, my wife looks at me and she's like, I fucking forgot that's Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, and John Leguizamo.
Also,
like
in fairness to Patrick Swayze, he's fucking beautiful. He's equally beautiful in Dirty Dancing. Like, he's just got the perfect face.
Man.
Oh, and she can get it. She can get it.
That's why the SNL. That's why that's the most iconic SNL bit of all time. Or one of them, the Chippendales, is because Swayze looks like that. And
underrated from that same episode. There's a Hans and Franz, you know, the weightlifting guys, where one of them is like obsessed with Patrick Swayze and he keeps like fantasizing about them riding a horse together and stuff. and the other one keeps like, hey, what's the matter? Why do you keep, and he just keeps like getting dazed. It's an underrated.
One of my favorite parts too is like when they first get Gigi in the car and they're riding through like whatever it is, cornfields on the side, sun's hitting, and I'm watching like their faces, and I was like, Wesley Snipes believable, Patrick Swayze believable. Then you get John Leguizamo, he looks like a clown because the makeup is so strong and tough. And I'm sitting there, I was like, there's something about it that's off. And I feel like they mentioned it too.
At the end of the movie.
Yes.
See, I have the note of the foundation joke is so on point. It's something I didn't learn about till I had a wife with darker skin who like struggled to find the perfect foundation to not give you that line that, you need to blend it nicely into your neck. I had no idea, but I did. And then when he makes the foundation joke at the end, I was like, oh, damn, that's some real drag queen shit right there.
So that's something that John Leguizamo brought to the role, because he likes to have according to him, he likes to have like arcs, and he knows that this movie wasn't about him. Like, I feel like it is about all
He's a
of
big
them.
part.
in a
I think it's
certain
about all
extent.
three of them in the
It's not,
But-
but he's like the third. Like you
But
would say, he's
yeah.
the co-lead. He's
When you
almost the
say-
comic relief guy.
Yeah, and he kills it. He's very fucking funny in this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
But-
He's very funny.
Yeah, but when they were interviewing him, he said that he would watch his sisters and his aunts, and all of them would have that line. And he mentioned that to the makeup department. He's like, I really want to mimic that line, that oversaturation of foundation, and towards the end, when they present him, he's like flawless.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, when he wins at the end, when he wins the
Like,
big
the makeup
spoiler
is
alert, he
on
wins the big
fucking
she.
point.
Sorry, wins the big drag show.
We these
But-
movies kind of reminds me of like a no, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I wanted to mention.
Movies remind me like a My Cousin Vinny, with like the smaller roles, like the woman that you would only I think believe and remember in the beginning, Ghostbusters. Like my uncle thought he was saying Jerome, like probably one of my favorite characters. When who's chasing her, Wesley Snipes, and the whole time he's chasing her with the picture.
Oh,
the
yeah.
lady.
I'm like, dude, please just major league it and just fucking. Just...
Put some
No,
strides.
he's got,
in there.
I
he's got the
fucking
tight
laugh.
dress on. He can only move his legs a little bit.
I laugh when Wesley Snipes goes like, "Oh, this stopped being funny a long time ago."
Wes-
But can we
Wesley-
fucking talk about Robin Williams, please?
Yes.
Because my heart fluttered.
I didn't know.
when
I'm
Robin
so glad
I
Williams-
didn't know he was in it. Like I had no idea
got
the
so
cameo.
excited.
I was so excited.
I miss him so much. I really miss watching that movie yesterday and him appearing on screen when I completely blacked out that he was on this movie. Like I felt so happy when I saw him, and I know that I miss him because of that.
Mhm.
But his banter with fucking John Leguizamo. John Leguizamo at one point says, and he says it in Spanish, so maybe you guys didn't catch it. He said Robin Williams said something about adjustment, and John Leguizamo answers him, maybe I'll adjust your ass, your butt cheeks, like essentially like I'm saying like, oh, I'll fuck you too, bro. and they just kept like flirting back and forth, and you clearly could tell that they were just fucking with each other. That
Well,
was
also you got
pure
two, like,
banter.
guys who kind of came up with stand up, so like banter and like quick wit, and that's
Oh,
kind of
well,
what they do. And like the vibe of being a comedian and like backstage talking to other comedians is a whole nother thing. That's like a whole. If you
Why
ever
their
seen the
podcasts are
documentary
so
of The
good.
Aristocrats, it's all about that basically, about how it is to be a comedian backstage and like how you have to like prove yourself and you got to be on top of your game and you can't show weakness and you got to, you know what I mean, you got to be as funny as they are and everything. I like
honestly,
that idea.
I
Well, I think
fucking
that
loved it so
it's
much,
funny
man.
to bring up the banter in that because reading some fun facts about this, Swayze and Leguizamo, like Swayze almost went to blows with Leguizamo because he kept improvising, and Swayze was trying to method act this movie, so he was
Yeah.
trying to stay like in the proper
Vita
character,
character,
And now they have, after the interview you shared with us, like they nice things to say about that, but like in the moment it was a
It
tense
can be
set
very
because
frustrating, yeah. Well, and you get the impression that from those interviews, which I loved, Swayze, I think he kind of took the job thinking it would be like more of a kind of camp comedy of a man in a dress, like bosom buddies or some dumb shit like that. And then when he like got into actually doing it, he realized that he had to take it seriously and make the Vita a real character. And you can tell he really committed to it because of how good he is, you know.
he's
Yeah.
really good. Like someone mentioned earlier, like Snipes, like the first impression is like steals the movie because his comedy is always just hitting.
Yeah.
But he's just doing Wesley Snipes. Like Wesley Snipes does that same attitude in White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah.
Did
He's just
you like the
feminine.
cameo?
He's just presenting very feminine and and he's doing a good job. But
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying. Yeah, he has that same kind of fast talking.
Yeah,
quality,
the fast talking, like I think it's a White Man Can't Jump where he does like basically makes the white does the white person. It's like, excuse me, sir, like this and that, and but he's great. They're all three of them are great.
Boggle.
I like the cameo of White Man Can Jump in the middle of the movie when he's like just
He dunks on those guys. Yeah.
That's such a funny bit too.
Or it's the girls. Sorry, it's a girls basketball team.
It's so funny. It's such a good bit too. I know it's like offensive to the girls basketball players, but like, but like how they're like, oh, thank God we could stay here because you could like little character reveals of like clearly Swayze has led the toughest like hometown life of being it, or at least the character present like puts that trauma on him. So he's like, man, just sleep in the car. And then they're playing basketball, and he's just juking, or she's just juking in her sport.
Yeah. Can we talk about the abusive husband real quick?
Well, okay, this gets into something I wanted to talk about too, real quick.
Go ahead.
So we can talk about, first of all, how is it that Stockard Channing, this is almost 20 years after Grease, and somehow Stockard Channing looks younger in this than she does in Grease?
Great.
It has to be something about the hair, the long hair, and the
hair and makeup.
But I was like, maybe it's because in Grease she's supposed to be a high school student and so clearly isn't, and that throws you. So, but like I was like, how does she look younger in this? But anyway,
haircut.
The guy, her abusive husband, is the nerdy Bob Balaban dude from Jurassic Park Lost World, the second movie, who's like the InGen guy. I knew I knew him somewhere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I
he
did not
shaved his beard and put little glasses on him, and that's the guy.
Wait, he's in Guardians of the Galaxy too. He's like one of the first guys collecting Chris Pratt's thing, I think. Never mind.
Oh, is he the guy like at the shop maybe or something?
Yeah, he's the purple face with little spikes.
But I guess my point, yes, we have the abusive husband character, and we have Stockard Channing that's getting abused, and it's clear that Vita's trying to stay out of it while like letting her know that she's. But like this speaks to a thing, and this is because of the era the movie came out. I'm sitting there watching it, and I've seen it before, but I don't remember it, and I'm waiting. I have this feeling of like impending doom, right? Because in a movie about gay people from that era, it can't just be a fun romp where everybody has a good time. Something bad has to happen to someone. They have to have a struggle. You have to feel the pain of what it's like to struggle to be gay. And I kept waiting for like Patrick Swayze to be revealed and her to say some hateful shit to him, or when Chris Penn came back to finally find him, the whole town to like turn on him and call him freaks, and a big embarrassing reveal where the wig gets snatched off. And I was so happy that isn't really what happens. Yeah. Like there's never really, you have the moment where Stockard Channing kind of just lets you know she's always known.
Yeah.
She just kind of knew from the beginning.
It's a nice
and then
moment.
The town really just rallies. Like,
I'm a drag queen. The old lady. And something this beautiful can't be
I'm
real.
sorry, I hate to disappoint Jusef, but I gotta bring up Child's Play 2's Beth Grant. You've been very naughty, Mrs. Kettlewell.
I will say this: who I keep calling the gang of rapists, is that what they were? Flips.
By the end, they're even progressive.
They're wearing
tie-dyed sleeveless shirts
with the cheese cow on it.
Yeah,
Harry Styles' stylist has been stealing costumes from
so
this
Brian,
movie.
as you were just talking, my brain put the worst possible. You could literally kick me off the show after I say this. The possible thing together.
I'm still here.
Wild Hogs stole the plot of this movie.
Oh, shit.
Think about it.
Only it's like bikers instead of drag queens?
Yeah. Think about it.
Wild fucking sentence.
Well, first of all, to think about it, you're assuming that I've seen Wild Hogs.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's my next pick for the next
movie. Guys, 100, we made it 100 episodes. That's it. We're done.
So they in Wild Hogs, they end up at a small town where they charm everyone over, hiding out from the dangerous Ray Liotta biker gang that comes and confronts them. Anyway, there's a lot of similarities.
So the abusive husband, I have a note that says just like, this guy thinks black pepper is spicy. I have another note that it has to be so humbling not only to get punched by a woman, but it is also like the Roadhouse guy. So he really fucked him up.
Just very degrading. Like Vita backhands him first.
And I really love the scene. Like, I have to tell you something about Vita. It's like she works out. She works out a lot.
Yeah.
Now, my wife actually pointed this out. It's a very dark thought, but it's because we all watch too much true crime. She's like, a real domestic violence situation, Virgil just comes back and murders his wife, right? Like we all know the real ending in the real world. Virgil just goes to the truck and gets his gun, and then we're watching a 10-part documentary on Netflix about it.
Joe mentioned Chris Penn his list of where to find homos made me laugh so fucking hard.
His speech when he's sitting at the bar too, and he's just like their stubbly beards rubbing against each other. He's clearly like hateful, but also curious. Like, I mean, I think that feeds into that trope of every homophobe is secretly gay, and that's kind of like a dumb thing because it downplays actual homophobia and like the danger of like people who are actually hateful.
It's
but
good for the
it
bit.
was very funny in this movie to have the way he's just kind of stewing about it at the bar and just thinking about.
It's fucking hilarious. He drops a hard and instantly.
Right away, like they
boom,
set the tone. You know how I always talk about a consistent thing I have where Laura sits down at the worst possible times of movies?
Yes, my wife too.
Because I was like, I think you'd really like this. I was like, I think you'd really like this movie. Like, I'm really enjoying it. And it was early, and she sits down, she finishes up what she was doing in the kitchen, and it's that scene where he pulls them over, and the first things are all of the slurs, and I'm like, I hope it's not
like trying to convince Laura, like she's all looking just sketchy.
Because she likes, RuPaul and whatnot.
I feel she should give it a shot, and she'll like it.
Yeah, she watched most of it. We didn't talk about it because we came in.
We didn't talk about the RuPaul cameo.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. The name, I love the name. Where I wrote it down, Racial Tension. Such a beautiful fucking name for a drag queen. And then she's a black woman dressed in a Confederate. It's perfect.
Yeah, dressed in a Confederate flag dress. That was pretty wild.
But the note that I have here is like this movie did not age well at all. Like this movie did not age well at all because the one man that they picked to stay is Mel Gibson. She's like everybody can go, but Mel Gibson, that guy, A+. He can fucking stay.
Well, he was supposed to be.
They missed that one. They missed that.
Well, Mel Gibson was originally going to be Swayze's character.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
In the little
I don't
facts,
think he has the range. I don't think he could have done it.
So I always, of course, gotten this confused with Priscilla, the Delegate.
I've never seen. Me and my wife were just talking. I've never seen Priscilla Queen.
I've never seen it either. I just like knowing movies.
Oh, I've seen it.
Those are just like a couple of the big main drag movies.
Yeah, this is the most cool, surprising fun fact I saw about this was it was #1 at the box office when it was released, which is really
it was
the first movie about drag. I guess, or
that's why
mainstream.
you saying this movie has to have a cult following. I'm sure if you
find
a drag YouTube channel, I guarantee they got 10 To Wong Foo episodes. Like
and like I mentioned, you guys, like Trixie Mattel is like a huge drag queen, and she recently did like a video reacting to it. So I bet a bunch of new viewers from her channel. She's like millions of followers.
And I would think that, I mean, I don't know, but I would say that overall this seems pretty favorable. I can't imagine there'd be a lot of complaints about it. Respectful towards the drag lifestyle.
Very respectful.
Wait, hold on.
As like a thing, not as a joke.
TJ wants to.
Let me try and ruin this. So when I first heard about this movie, and I didn't realize we were filming tonight. So Brian's like, you gotta watch To Wong Foo. So we're in the car this morning, and he's like, what do you have to watch now? I was like, To Wong Foo, something. No disrespect to the name. And she's like, what's it about? And I was like, I think it's about 3 drag queens who like go on the road robbing banks. And the only reason I thought that is because of Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. And I thought that was a part of the film for some fucking...
There was a part at the beginning when I was like, I'm getting a real Thelma and Louise road movie vibe from this. It would be kind of cool to see them do some crimes.
Well, they do. They knock over that cop.
Banks, and I was like, it's not what it is at all.
They fuck up a racist bigot cop.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
And they don't. They basically just push him down. They barely even do anything to him.
Yeah, he gets knocked out real quick.
He's a weak racist. He got one push down, and he's dead for an entire day.
Just like, and same thing with Virgil, the wife abuser. It's like all their hate comes from this insecurity of being embarrassed by a woman,
Yeah. And I do love the arc of Chi-Chi, growing into a more instead of a taker, she becomes more of a giver. Especially
that's
towards
the
the
Vita
end.
in her. Vita is a giver. Vita just wants to make everyone's life better, wants to make the world around her a better place.
And you can clearly tell that Noxima had a lot of hardship in her life, and she's very jaded. But despite like her background and obviously through Vita's influence, she's also like reluctantly is like very open to helping other
Vita's
people.
obviously a good influence on her.
Yeah. She should not be technically called her drag mother, because the drag mother is like the person that puts them first in drag. That's technically your drag mother, but she clearly acts like the head of the house. Like it's Vita's house, and then everybody's under her. I do have one note that before we go into ratings phase, one of my favorite jokes is like, if you want to know a man a steak is for dinner, you gotta let them hear it sizzle. And I just fucking laughed my ass off with that one. All right, let's go into the ratings.
No, hold on. No, you're not rating yet. There's one thing I wanted to bring up. It's one of those logistics things that like breaks the suspension of disbelief for the movie. Where is all Vita's luggage? She's got so many fucking outfits.
My wife mentioned that.
Every one of her outfits is something that would need to be hung up. It's not something that could be in a bag.
So many hats. So many hats.
It would need to be steamed. It would need to be
Even
dry
what she wears
cleaned.
to bed is fancy enough that it would need like. So I'm just saying that's the one thing that it's like I can believe that the town of hillbillies rallied behind the drag queens, but I cannot believe that Vita didn't have like 4 trunks full of shit.
Yeah. The hide and seek sequence, amazing. They're the best hide and seekers ever. Like Wesley Snipes went under the bed and pretended to be a falling down wig.
Yeah, and the wig is on the floor. Yeah,
pops up.
Fucking great. I love it. It's so good. And you talking about great lines, and the when Pat Swayze says, "Sometimes it just takes a ferry." So good.
Oh, and they start dancing on the Great. All right, let's go into the
ratings. Ladies and gentlemen,
TJ.
Ratings.
Oh, this one's, believe it or not, I messaged Joe earlier. I was hoping to get like a little rise out of all of you. I would say this is a good 7.7. Ghostbusters woman making circles around Wesley Snipes to make him look like he can't move at all in that dress. That part had me like laughing, like crying.
She was juking him. She was like,
yeah, because it was shot from so far away when he first tries to get her, and just like
she comes back around and he has to make that turn in that little dress. Like it's almost like legs can't move.
Yeah, she's in the house. But it's a great movie. I think it's a fun one. Has emotional moments too. Again, when I went into this, I was like, "Oh, this is that robbery heist movie." I'm like, "Nope, that's not what it is." It's a great movie.
Joe.
Yeah. Before I give the rating, there was another fact I read that was pretty funny that Swayze put a corn cob in his dress. So when Chris Penn grabbed it, it really surprised them.
Oh, that's funny.
So the rating is because I would literally delightful movie. I truly enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm like right there, like 7.9 corn cobs.
Corn cob penises.
Corn cob penises. But I mean, it could easily. You know what? I give it the respect. It could be an 8, just straight 8 corn cob penises.
Fine.
Yeah, this could have been on my list of best revisits, like a movie that I had seen before and then went back and it's so much better than I even remember. And like, what a great, it's so great to have good queer representative cinema that is entertaining. And like I said, that doesn't fall into that trope of being like about the burden of being gay and like, or being a drag queen. It doesn't like, you don't have to see them suffer. There's subtlety to it. You understand that Vita's relationship with her family is obviously strained, and they probably all basically had to leave where they came from and abandon. That none of them had a support system. That's why they have each other. But it's all ingrained. You never have to see them suffer. The most you ever do is you see like some slight embarrassment when Vita's wig gets caught and it comes off for a second.
Yeah, that has to be the most savage burn though. Like you're dressing up as a woman because you couldn't cut it as a man, and then
that's and to say to a drag queen, like when for one drag queen to say to another seems like a very harsh.
I also,
thing.
it was a really telling thing with that scene. that was cool to see kind of in it. Swayze kind of being like, no, there are rules. We're not here to deceive. So
right,
you're not trying to
know
deceive
what you're
this.
doing. You know, it's one thing to flirt. It's another thing to actively deceive this kid.
That's not
and,
right to that
you know,
boy.
he's a small town yokel. He doesn't know shit. Even at the end, like when it's kind of everybody knows, he's still kind of like, oh, what?
Yeah. They hooked him up with the girl, his own. Christopher, was that Christopher? Was that Christopher?
She
London?
looks so much like Michelle Williams. It's so distracting.
Who?
She's not.
It's not Michelle Williams. I thought it was a young man.
I
But
thought it was too.
Young girl, the girl who played the like Bobby Sue or whatever.
Yeah.
I
know her from Friends. Brian, you didn't give your score.
Oh, I didn't give my full rating. 8.5 Julie Newmar cameos at the end.
Yes.
It was only in the movie because she showed up on set one day to see what it was about.
To see what the fuck was happening. She's like, I want to be in this movie.
She's like, why's my name on this? What's up?
Yeah.
What's up? What are you doing with my name?
Like I said, this was a childhood favorite. It's very rarely that you revisit a childhood favorite, and it not only holds up, it gives you more context to why you actually liked it. Like as an adult, you can fully appreciate it. I'm
when
not
it wasn't
sure.
Connected with you about it. Well, yeah, that's true. That's cool.
It's a fucking 9 out of 10. Robin Williams flirting with John Leguizamo. It's just one of those movies that just washes over you. Like some movies, like you
Robin
watch
Williams
because
with a V-neck and a gold chain is like, come on.
That chest hair. Ooh, I wanna rock climb that chest. All right, TJ, what are you gonna do to us? We're officially 100 in, clean
so
slate.
Now it's time. Yeah,
100 more.
100
How
more.
are we gonna start the new decade?
Earlier we talked about how
century.
we come into our own, and everybody has their place. So let's see what TJ does to us.
So I mean, I had a couple of different options. I'll give you two of them right off the bat. I'm not going to pick. There's a movie brought to my attention earlier today called The Fallen or Fallen. Denzel Washington, Elias.
Oh yeah, I like that movie.
John Goodman.
John Goodman
in it.
That sounds more of a Brian pick. Okay, so
it is a good one.
I left that one by side.
I got my next 4 or 5 picks though, so if you want to jump in on something, feel free.
No. So this one also, Brian's shirt reminded me of it. Look who's talking in the beginning when Kirstie Alley's cervical egg drops down. I almost was like, why not? That'd be a fun.
That movie opens. That movie opens with a man ejaculating into a woman. That's the opening sequence of that fucking movie.
Yeah, that's a movie I watched a lot as a child, and I'm like, wow, I'm really... Then sex ed happened when I was in 5th grade, and I was like, oh, I get it.
So then my brain went to something I've always wanted to pick for us, and it's the funny thing is, today is the anniversary of its release date, June 13th, 1993. I love this movie. It's a very meta film in the sense of the street metas and everything like that. I'm going to Arnold Schwarzenegger, fucking Last Action Hero.
Oh, hell yeah.
We're going to start the new season.
Finally, you are going to break a 30-year streak of me not watching Last Action Hero.
Yes.
It's something I just kind of thought about. It's one of my favorite films. It's got a lot of great characters. So.
Okay, I'm going to make a rule here. Brian, you have to watch it because now this starting 100, we start new vetoes for the next whatever.
Vetoes. You only get 1 veto per 100 episodes.
Yeah,
I never used it. Yeah,
I never used the first one.
You can't bank them either. It's gone. You missed your opportunity. No bank. You don't bank them.
Yeah. So.
All right. Where can the people find you, beautiful bastards? Joe.
You can find me right here at Flyover State of Fear. Doing. We have a couple episodes out. I got to get back into booking guests. Just check me out on this channel. Find me on Twitter. Just right now, talking Mets. It's fun. Chandango 1.
You can find me at Hercules. I've been there since day one. I'm just out there in the down in the dregs, just firing out from the trenches of the Twitter trenches, fighting the good fight, being a troll.
TJ.
You guys find me at TJ Dex on Twitter, talking all the stuff. And then obviously, Flyover to the Film YouTube. Other than that.
All right. Happy Pride. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Ooh, Pride, baby.